Look at it, popping bottles, the bubbly float as the boys in blue celebrate the win, taking them to the ALCS. We have reaction from the clubhouse and fans.
And new details in the Richmond Hill homicide, which police say was an unprovoked attack of a man outside of his home by a stranger.
Bike lanes on board, they're going to stay, but lanes will be added for vehicles. Mayor Chow says it's a win-win. We'll explain.
This is Live at 5.
Good evening. I'm Bakari Sapp.
And I'm Arda Zakarian. Welcome to Live at 5. Well, the Blue Jays are still riding high after that big win in New York last night.
The 1-2 pitch. Got him! Jeff Hoffman strikes out Cody Bellinger, and the Blue Jays have done it.
Well, the Jays with a 5-2 win over the Yankees to take their division series 3 games to 1. They advance to the American League Championship Series. This for the first time since 2016.
Start spreading the news. Just work it.
I let my kids stay up and watch this last night, and wasn't that a party afterwards? The champagne was flowing as the Jays celebrated. They get a few days to recover, and they will face either the Tigers or the Mariners on the series, and the series will start right here on Sunday.
Well, Toronto fans are celebrating the Jays' ALDS win. They're getting ready for the American League Championship Series. Some fans, they struck out trying to buy tickets to the next round today. CP24's Beatrice Vaisman is live at Rogers Center. Beatrice.
Bakari, Arda, we're in the Jays store at the Dome right now. Fans getting some custom jerseys. We're just watching the finishing touches being put right now on a Trey Savage jersey, number 39. His jersey isn't for sale yet at the Jays store. As you know, he's only had 4 starts in the MLB. But based on his showing in Game 2, based on how well he performed, fans eager to get this jersey. But I'm hearing the jersey of the day, by the way, from Blue Jays fans is Ernie Clement, but there's some new swag as well. Check out this hat here, Division Champs 2025. They're now going on to the ALCS. What's your name, my friend?
Francis.
You're obviously a big Jays fan. You've got all the gear.
Yes.
How are you feeling today after the big win?
Like last night was pretty stressful. I told my wife, I'm like, put your hand right here because my heart was just pounding out of my chest, but so glad that we pulled out the win.
Do you want Detroit or do you want Seattle in the next round?
I think either way it's going to be interesting because Toronto fans will travel to either of those cities. I think Seattle will be a fun series though.
Yeah, tell me about what you've liked in the guys. You're getting this Savage jersey. Clearly, I mean, this 22-year-old is just incredible, and we're so lucky to have him for the next few years. But what have you seen in terms of the camaraderie, the teamwork in this team?
Yeah, I think that's what's unique about this year is that the guys genuinely seem to all really get along and all really like each other. I mean, you hear comments from Varsho saying, Springer's my dad, and you're just wondering, like, what is going on in that locker room? And it's really just a fun team that we're all having so much fun watch.
What do you feel the vibes in the city are like right now, watching the Jays go as far as they can?
Honestly, I live downtown, and just any night, any hour of any day, you've got people in blue and white, and it really is just an incredible thing. You're high-fiving strangers on the street, and that just never happens.
I love that. Like a stranger while watching a Jays game. Appreciate your time. Thanks so much. And of course, the fans are just so excited. I've been chatting with a whole bunch of them outside of the Jays store earlier today as well. Here's a bit of more fan reaction from some die-hard Blue Jays fans.
Give me Detroit. Like Seattle, that's the one team I fear the most right now is the Seattle Mariners. They are a very well-built team. Their rotation, absolutely insane.
I don't care, to be honest with you. I just want them to win. I don't care who they play. I just want them to win and advance to the World Series. If you'd have told me in '93 I'd have been waiting 30-some years before them to get possibly back there, I wouldn't have believed you, but I appreciate it a lot more now than I did then.
I think it was crazy then, but I think if they do it now, I think it'll even be crazier. Not just here in Toronto, but I think across Canada. I think a lot of people have been waiting too long. And new people, younger Canadian baseball players and fans, I think they really want it. And I think it's going to happen.
And what a show these guys have been putting on for these fans. As for the J Store, you can get this shirt too. ALCS 2025, of course, the series is going to start on Sunday. Some of the fans I've been talking to, one gentleman went out to the very first playoff game the Blue Jays ever played in Toronto, down at CNE grounds in 1985. Here we are 40 years later, and he's hoping for another World Series under the Blue Jays belt. But certainly the city is abuzz supporting Canada's team. Back to you guys.
We got this. Thank you so much for this, Beatrice. Appreciate it. Blue Jays slugger Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is getting lots of attention on social media today after he had a little fun during a post-game appearance on Fox Sports. Every time I watch this, I giggle. It's so funny.
Yankee lose. Yankee lose. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Oh, hey, let's do it again. The Yankees lose.
Guerrero asked former Red Sox great David Ortiz to repeat his famous line following Yankees losses and joined him. And the line is a play on former Yankees broadcaster John Sterling's signature call after a New York win.
And while the Jays and their fans are celebrating the win, there's not much love being shown for the Yankees in the Big Apple. The New York Post using the phrase, boys, a bummer, to describe the Pinstripes after their elimination from the playoffs.
Listen, the New York Post, you love to hate it and you hate to love it.
That's right. But we agree for this one.
Yes. All right, so it's 5:06. Let's get a check on the roads this hour with CP24 traffic specialist Angela and Tia Bois.
Good afternoon, guys. We're all on a high from that win. Now, if you're making your way out, not so much of a high on the drive. So many problems happening. So I'll start with issues if your travels take you into Vaughan. On the northbound lanes of the 400, on the approach to Highway 7, crews on scene of a collision that does have the left lane and shoulder block, starting to create a bit of a delay just on the approach. And then 401 westbound, some good news. We had problems on the exit ramp to Jamestown Parkway. Collision was in the left lane. Situation there did all clear. Still really busy on the southbound lanes of the 404, starting from the 407 to just south of Finch. We had a collision at one point. It was in the 3 right lanes. It's all off the highway, but problems also cleared. So you know what? I'm a good news person. If you're making your way on the westbound lanes of the Gardner, this is past Bathurst or Spadina, was a stall, was in the right lane. It did clear. I'll send it back to you.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
The province is moving ahead with plans to reconfigure bike lanes and restore vehicle lanes in Toronto's West End.
Okay, let's go live to CP24. CJ Liu on Bloor. CJ.
Bakari Arda, the province says it's found a solution for cars and cyclists to share the road, at least along a small stretch of Bloor West. I'm standing here on Bloor in between Islington and Kipling, and this is the short area of road where they say they have found a compromise for cyclists and cars. They're going to keep the bike lanes here as well as add a lane of vehicle traffic. And if you take a look, this is where it's going to happen. Starting here on Resurrection Road, going about 500 meters to Collisode Road. This is between Kipling and Islington. It is a small stretch of road, but as you go underneath that bridge, vehicle traffic is down to a single lane. There is still a cycling lane, but if you see the median there is about a good chunk of that road that isn't being used right now. So the province says they're going to keep the bike lane, but also add a lane of traffic. Now, all of this is happening even though there is still a legal fight in the courts. Back in the summer, Ontario Superior Court judge ruled that Doug Ford's provincial law to remove 3 stretches of bike lanes in downtown Toronto is unconstitutional. Now, the government is appealing that ruling with a hearing set for January, but in the meantime, they're going ahead with the smaller project because they say it is still consistent with the court ruling because it actually doesn't get rid of the bike lanes. Instead, they're just rearranging the road so both cars and cyclists can use it. Here's more from the transportation minister on this change they're moving ahead with.
What we can do here is reinstate 2 vehicle lanes. So get Bloor back to 4 lanes in this portion that we've identified, but also provide a protected bike lane. Look, we should never have been in this position if the City of Toronto had just ultimately, when first installing these a couple of years ago, looked at approaches like this in which both vehicle lanes and bicycle lanes could be maintained. But look, we were elected on a mandate to get people moving, and that's exactly what we're focusing on here.
Minister Sakaria also says Toronto didn't consider cars when planning bike lanes, and how this small stretch of Bloor is an example of how both bike lanes and vehicle lanes can exist at the same time. And we have been speaking to cyclists who believe that this is a good idea. This small stretch of road is appropriate considering there's not a lot of businesses and not a lot of busyness happening on this road, so a good place to get started when it comes to this compromise. We also heard from Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow, who is on board with this idea. Take a listen.
If there's certainty, there's not a negotiation. I'll do my best to find win-win solutions if it's possible. So if it's not possible, we'll see what we can do. But at this point, we are seeing a solution that accommodate both restore the car lane and protect the bike lanes.
The province says also they will be adding posts and barriers to protect the bike lanes, and cyclists that we've been speaking to say they are happy about that. They would feel safer cycling along this road. Now, how much will all of this cost? The province says it will cost $750,000 for this small stretch of road that they are rearranging, and construction begins in about a week or so. Bakari and Arda, it starts on October 20th.
Live along Bloor. Well, the TTC is set to restore service on Line 2 to pre-pandemic levels.
Mayor Olivia Chow made the announcement today. The move takes effect on Sunday and will mean 2 trains arrive every 2 minutes and 20 seconds during the morning rush on weekdays and increase service throughout the day. Service is also being added to the 72 PAPE, 73 Royal York, and 94 Wellesley buses. The mayor says that adding 6 trains during the morning rush will mean that the TTC can move an additional 6,000 people.
We want TTC riders to have a smoother ride, don't wait as long. So instead of waiting for 3.5 minutes if you are just missed the train, it's coming much more frequent, 2 minutes, 20 seconds, shorter waits, less crowding, more trains. It's excellent news for TTC riders on Line 2.
Chow says that the TTC is also deploying crisis workers to the subway system. That's going to start in November. So the mayor says that riders who see something that they want to report, they can do so through the Safe TTC app, and a team which includes a crisis worker will respond.
It's now 5:12 and 11 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Oh, coming up, a man in his 50s is dead following what police are calling an unprovoked attack near Yonge and Elgin Mills Road. This is in Richmond Hill.
Welcome back. Police have charged a 23-year-old man with second-degree murder in what they are calling an unprovoked attack in Richmond Hill.
And for a closer look at this case, we're joined live in studio by CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan. Steve, we're hearing about this not long after a different unprovoked attack in Durham region. This woman was in her front yard as well.
Yeah, so this has some similarities. This man, police allege, was in his driveway on Lorraine Street in Richmond Hill when he was attacked for no reason whatsoever. Oftentimes when a person is the attacker, the assailant, and there's no other criminality, there's no robbery, there's no dispute, there's no argument, sometimes it suggests that the person doing the attacking was experiencing some sort of crisis. But this will all be part of the investigation. This man who was beaten, police allege, was transported to hospital last night just after 5 p.m. and he was pronounced deceased in the hospital. And there was a 23-year-old man arrested just a short time later, and now is facing 1 count of second-degree murder and 2 counts of breach of probation. We have the video surveillance from the neighborhood, and you can see this guy walking along the sidewalk. And you can see how casually he's walking. So there is no rhyme, no reason for this. There's no reason to suspect this individual is up to anything, and this attack happened. So these are the type of attacks that really are bothersome for law enforcement, because as Chief Murrah said out in Durham during the attack of that woman when she was stabbed to death, how do you tell your citizens that you police how to be safe? Because there are some situations that you can't prevent, and this may be one of them. It's very concerning for police.
So what would you do in this case? How would you protect yourself or defend yourself?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. And oftentimes police tell us to be aware of your surroundings, but if you're in your own driveway, Do you need your head on a swivel? How do you defend yourself when you are just going about your business in your own driveway? So these are the type of attacks. Thankfully, they are not as frequent as other types of attacks, but they are very disturbing for police because sometimes they happen out of nowhere and people really don't have an opportunity to defend themselves.
Yeah, so along with that, there's also the community response after something like this, especially looking at video like that.
Yeah, these type of occurrences have a tendency to affect the quality of life of any community because you think that that could be me, that could be my brother, my father, anyone that you know or love, that could be them next. So these are the type of occurrences, again, that are very concerning to law enforcement, and sometimes there's not a heck of a lot you can do to prevent them.
As a former police officer, what would your advice be?
As what police say right now, and that is be aware of your surroundings. But again, there are some situations where is it realistic to have your head on a swivel when you're out in your own driveway just going about your day-to-day business? Sometimes these things happen as a result of the dense populations that we see ourselves living in, and sometimes you're just faced with unfortunate circumstances. You do your best to protect yourself, always be looking around as to what's going on, but we need to be realistic as well.
Okay, CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan live in studio. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
As suspect images have been released, this is in a stabbing near Bay in College.
Police are asking for help identifying 3 men in these photos. Take a look. Police say that the victim was approached by the 3 suspects around 6:45 last night and then stabbed. And the victim was later found with serious injuries on the platform at College Station, but it's believed they were stabbed off of TTC property. Anyone with information is asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers.
Toronto Fire Chief Jim Jessup is calling for regulations on lithium-ion batteries, calling them the fastest growing fire safety risk in the city.
Jessup says that there has been a 590% increase in fires related to lithium-ion batteries since 2020. The chief specifically referenced a fatal fire on Bleecker Street in February and a fire on the TTC on New Year's Eve during a news conference at City Hall today. He's calling for collaboration with the federal and provincial governments to introduce regulations to better prevent these fires going forward.
From a federal perspective, much like our counterparts, New York State and California have done, looking at legislation that regulates and requires a standard for the types of batteries that are coming in. And from a provincial perspective, we look forward to working with our partners on potential amendments to the Ontario Fire Code with respect to, as the councillor noted, the number of mobility devices that may be able to be stored. Are there requirements that should be put in place for charging stations and fire separations for these types of buildings?
This member motion that I'm bringing today is really about having City Council be on the record with the provincial and federal government saying we need action now. The market has changed quickly and legislation and regulation just hasn't caught up. When you hear the alarm from Toronto's fire chief in this way, we have to have his back and we have to take a strong stand.
And there are 68 fires related to lithium-ion batteries in Toronto. That's as of September. 39 were connected to batteries and devices like e-bikes and e-scooters.
A man has been arrested after being pulled over on Highway 407 with a license that has been suspended for 40 years.
Yeah, the driver was stopped on the 407 in Burlington yesterday afternoon. OPP sharing a photo of a radar gun reading 144 kilometers an hour. That's 44 over the speed limit. And police say that the 60-year-old driver from Toronto was already facing 20 suspended driving convictions. So he's now facing more traffic offenses and was turned over to neighboring police services for outstanding warrants.
It's now 5:20 and 11 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And coming up, celebrations after a deal is reached on the first step towards ending war in Gaza.
Welcome back. There were celebrations in Israel after a deal was reached on the first step toward ending war in Gaza.
The initial phase of the plan is going to see all remaining hostages freed in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. The Israeli military is then expected to begin its withdrawal from most of Gaza. There's uncertainty about whether Hamas will disarm, how that's going to happen, and who will govern Gaza. But the two sides appear closer to a ceasefire deal than they've been in months. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his security cabinet, they're signing off on the plan before the entire parliament approves the release of Palestinian prisoners.
Emergency service workers celebrated the deal with prayers and chants in Gaza City. They handed out desserts and blared their sirens to mark the latest step toward peace in the region. Tuesday marked 2 years of war following the Hamas attack on Israel.
And U.S. President Trump spoke from the White House this afternoon about the developments in the Israel-Hamas war.
As you know, last night we reached a momentous breakthrough in the Middle East, something that people said was never going to be done. We ended the war in Gaza and really, on a much bigger basis, created peace. And I think it's going to be a lasting peace, hopefully an everlasting peace. Peace in the Middle East. We secured the release of all of the remaining hostages, and they should be released on Monday or Tuesday. Getting them is a complicated process. I'd rather not tell you what they have to do to get them. There are places you don't want to be, but we are getting the hostages back on Tuesday.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says he welcomes this deal.
And I commend the diplomatic efforts of the United States, Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey in brokering the desperately needed breakthrough. We have all waited far too long for this moment. Now we must make it truly count. I urge all parties to fully abide by the terms of the agreement and to fully embrace the opportunities it presents.
And Prime Minister Carney talked about the deal while in Ottawa this morning.
The next 48 hours are crucial. We urge the parties, particularly Hamas, to follow through, release all the hostages, and including the deceased hostages. The President and I discussed in the White House how Canada can support this process. We are supporting with humanitarian aid. There's other mechanisms that we can do to support it.
It's now 5:25, 11 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And coming up, a Toronto school is marking its 100th anniversary.
Welcome back. Bloor Collegiate Institute marked two big occasions today: the opening of its new school building and its 100th year anniversary.
The school was originally called Davenport High School when it opened in 1920, before transforming into Bloor Collegiate in October of 1925. Well, today, it was the official opening of the new building, which houses Bloor Collegiate as well as Alpha 2 Alternative School. Today, current and former students as well as board and government officials gathered to mark the occasion.
You hear that Bloor is a space that feeds the soul in so many different ways. Whether you're in the sciences, in the mathematics, in the arts, it doesn't matter who you are and where you come from, you can find success at Bloor. And thank you, Bloor, for representing the model of public education in the TDSB and in the city of Toronto.
You will never be surrounded by more people who care about what your future holds than you are when you are in school. Absolutely, your family and your parents care about you more than anybody else. But throughout your time at school, there will never be more people who are so focused on one thing, and that's to see you succeed and do better than they did.
Of the new four-story building, it features 8 science labs, state-of-the-art robotics and computer engineering facilities, as well as music studios, culinary labs, dance spaces, and visual arts areas.
A beautiful school. It's now 5:29 and 11 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And we're live outside the Rogers Center. This is where the Jays are going to be back Sunday to play Game 1 of the ALCS. We have reaction from fans to the Jays winning their division. That's coming up.
Popping bottles, the bubbly flowed as the boys in blue celebrate the win, taking them to the ALCS. We have reaction from the clubhouse and from fans.
And new details in the Richmond Hill homicide, which police say was an unprovoked attack of a man outside his home by a stranger. We have analysis from CP24's crime specialist, Steve Ryan.
Bike lanes on Bloor will stay put, but lanes will be added for vehicles. Mayor Chow says it's a win-win. We'll explain.
This is Live at 5. Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Arda Zakarian. Welcome to Live at 5. The province is moving ahead with plans to reconfigure bike lanes and restore vehicle lanes in Toronto's West End.
Let's go live to CP24. Sija Liu along Bloor. Sija.
Bakara, Arda, the province says it's found a compromise, a solution that will balance the use of cars and bike lanes, at least along a short stretch of Bloor West. So I'm standing here at Resurrection Road, which is near Islington and Kipling, and this is the area where they're going to keep the bike lanes, but also add lanes for vehicle traffic as well. So starting the next week or so, they'll be doing construction, keeping these bike lanes, but also adding a lane of traffic. It's going to be this very small stretch of road starting here at Resurrection Road, and it only goes until the next stoplight there. But as you can see, vehicle traffic right now is down to a single lane. There is a bike lane on both sides, but in the middle median over there, there is some space on the road that isn't being utilized. Now, all of this is still happening, even though there is a legal fight in the court right now. Back in the summer, the Ontario Superior Court judge ruled that Doug Ford's provincial law to remove 3 stretches of bike lanes is unconstitutional. The government is appealing that, and there's a hearing set for January. But in the meantime, they are going ahead with the smaller project, saying it is still consistent with the court ruling because it's not actually getting rid of any bike lanes. It says they're trying to add vehicle lanes anywhere they can in the city. For example, certain stretches of Bloor Street, like this one, there is enough space to add in a vehicle lane while keeping the bike lanes. But here's more from Transportation Minister Prapmeet Sarkaria on their plan.
The vast majority of the vehicle reinstatement argument is before the court. Here, what we've been able to accomplish is find a stretch in which vehicle lanes can be restored from 2 to 4 in its original form, but ultimately also have protected bike lanes on the sides as well. For us, it's about getting vehicle lanes back. I reserve that same opinion on the rest of Bloor, Yonge, and University, where I think we've seen record gridlock in the city because they've removed 2 vehicle lanes, a vehicle lane on each side, and put a bike lane in, which very few people across the city use. It's caused gridlock, and we need to get the city moving.
In terms of gridlock in this area, it's not too bad. It's rush hour right now. It is down to a single lane here on Bloor Street West, but it hasn't been too bad, at least for the time that we've been here. Now, we did get some reaction from Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow, and she calls this a win-win situation, a good compromise, because it keeps the protected bike lanes while also bringing back car lanes. And we've also been speaking to cyclists in the area. Here's what they had to say.
I think it's a win-win as long as it does not disturb any businesses. If it can prevent accidents from happening, I think when there's no lines for bicycle, it's just harder to manage to cycle with cars. It's riskier.
And the construction for the bike and vehicle lanes will start in just under 2 weeks on October 20th. And Bakari, Arda, all of this will cost around $750,000. Back to you.
Thank you so much for this, Sija. And the TTC is set to restore service on Line 2 to pre-pandemic levels.
Mayor Chow made this announcement today. So the move takes effect Sunday. It's going to mean that trains arrive every 2 minutes and 20 seconds during the morning rush on weekdays and increase service throughout the day. So the mayor says adding 6 trains during the morning rush, that's going to mean the TTC can move an additional 6,000 people.
This is just the beginning. We'll say more in November for Line 1. But it's not just the TDC, not just Line 1. It is 3 key bus routes, the 72 Pape, Royal York, and Wellesley. All of those bus routes will have better services. It comes more often, more buses too. So again, less crowding and help get people get to where you need to go.
Chow says the TTC is also deploying crisis workers to the subway system starting in November. The mayor says riders who see something they want to report can do so through the Safe TTC app, and a team that includes a crisis worker will respond.
It's 5:36. Let's get a check on the evening commute with CP24 traffic specialist Adjoa and Tia. Good evening, Adj.
Oh, good evening, Bakari. Good evening, Arda. And if you're making your way out, it's a very slow go on all of the major area highways. Sunshine blinding the drive a bit, adding to the rush hour delays on the westbound lanes of the Gardiner in particular. So make sure your shades are available as that sun starts to set. Very, very slow at this point from Parliament and sections out to Grand. Even the eastbound side slowing as you head into the downtown core. At least we're getting a lull in problems. Northbound Don Valley Parkway remains busy off the Gardiner all the way up towards the 401. And traveling towards on the 401, it's a busy go across the top of the city, but also no major problems. Just minor problem westbound 401 in the collectors through Yonge. Stalled vehicle was partially in the right lane. Everything cleared over to the side. On city streets on Dundas west of Kipling at Subway, crews on scene of a collision involving a pedestrian. Also pretty serious, a collision on Mount Pleasant and Lawrence that you have to deal with. I'll send it back to you.
Okay, so the Blue Jays, they're still riding high after that big win in New York last night.
The 1-2 pitch. Got him! Jeff Hoffman strikes out Cody Bellinger, and the Blue Jays have done it.
Our anxiety was through the roof, but they did it. The Jays with a 5-2 win over the Yankees to take their division series 3-1, the advance to the American League Championship Series for the first time since 2016.
Start spreading the news. Just we're going!
Oh, man, look at that party. Just to be there, popping bottles, just... All right, the champagne, it was flowing as the Jays celebrated. They get a few days to recover. They're going to face either the Tigers or the Mariners, and the series is going to start right here Sunday.
Well, Phil was there.
Yeah,
his shirt was soaked, and shoes. And Toronto fans are celebrating the Jays' ALDS win and getting ready for the American League Championship Series.
Okay, some fans, they also kind of struck out by trying to get tickets to the next round today. CP24's Beatrice Basement is live at the Rogers Center. Beatrice.
The ALCS is sold out. Bakari and Arda, if you were looking for a ticket from Ticketmaster right now, yeah, you can't get one. And by the way, most of the new swag at the J store here at the Dome is also sold out. Tickets on the resale market, by the way, even in the nosebleeds in the 500 section, they're going well over $500 a pop, by the way, which, I mean, when you compare it to a Leafs ticket, that's just a regular season ticket, right? To go and watch the Maple Leafs at the Scotiabank Arena. But fans are super pumped. I mean, yesterday, any bar in the city, there would have been people hugging, strangers, high-fiving, and just celebrating the fact that the Blue Jays are doing so well this season. The big question is, who do they face next? It'll depend on the outcome of tomorrow's game between the Tigers and the Mariners. So I've spent the day asking the fans about how they're feeling, and also, who do they want in the next round? I got to tell you, the answers have been pretty split. Some say Detroit, just due to proximity. More Jays fans can travel to Detroit for these games. Others say they think Mariners would be a good team to battle it out in the ALCS again. So here's some fan reaction.
Being there for games 1 and 2, the atmosphere was just absolutely electric. You know, even though it's usually louder when the dome is closed, even roof open, your ears were ringing by the time you were leaving the stadium.
We've got the hats, we've got the T-shirts, and yeah, we've got lots of baseball fans in our family.
I'm in heaven because these guys, the new generation, they are like a family. Look at last night. Everybody hug, no one want to be a number one. They want all together like a family. We need this. This city need that.
It's the togetherness, right? I mean, togetherness, the fans celebrating together, but also the team. These guys, they look like they're having fun playing together. Fans are having fun watching them. And then, of course, those champagne showers and celebrations we've been showing you all day long. It showed just how together this team is. And so the fans take notice. I can tell you as well, when it comes to the custom jerseys here at the Jays store, so right now, there's no Savage, there's no Clement, and there's no Lucas. But fans have been getting them made, especially those 3 in this series. So, the team has given fans a lot to eat up, and you know that they'll continue to support them through the ALCS no matter who they face. This really is Canada's team. Back to you guys.
It's a brotherhood we love to see. Thank you so much for this, Beatrice. It's now 5:41 and 11 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And coming up, a man in his 50s is dead following what police are calling an unprovoked attack near Young and Elgin Mills in Richmond Hill. And police have charged a 23-year-old man with second-degree murder in what they're calling an unprovoked attack in Richmond Hill.
For a closer look at this case, we're joined in studio by CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan. Steve, when we hear this unprovoked attack, it seems that these two parties did not know each other. It's incredibly disturbing.
Yeah, it is the most disturbing when it comes to law enforcement, because what it suggests is that there was no connection between the now deceased and this accused. There was nothing leading up to this attack, so there was no other criminal allegations being made by police. So there's no suggestion that it was a robbery gone bad, no suggestion that there was a disturbance or an argument of any kind, any disagreement. It was just a random attack. And as a result, the 54-year-old man lost his life while standing in his driveway and being approached by this 23-year-old. We've got video surveillance of the neighborhood, and you can see just how casually this person is walking down the street. You wouldn't think twice of noticing somebody walking down the street like that. Very, very casually. There's nothing that seems to be out of sorts. Now, I will mention that aside from second-degree murder, he's also facing 2 counts of breach of probation. So that certainly suggests that this guy has a criminal past and was on probation when this alleged offense was committed.
Yeah, Steve, I was going to ask you, what all do we know about this suspect?
That's all that I know of him. That was released by police information-wise, is that he's from Richmond Hill, he's 23 years old, and he's now facing 1 count of second-degree murder and 2 counts of breaching his probation.
So an unprovoked attack, obviously this person didn't know that this was going to happen to them. How does one protect themselves when it comes to something like this?
That's the million-dollar question. And police tell us all the time that we should be aware of our surroundings. But, I mean, that can only go so far as well. When you're standing on your own driveway, are we expected to have our heads on a swivel, or is this just what we have come to in a society? But it certainly does suggest when attack is as unprovoked as this, that oftentimes the person that's committing this offense is experiencing some sort of crisis, because there's no reason for this to occur other than they may be under some sort of crisis, and this is why it's led to this criminal offense being committed.
Okay, so what's next?
Well, this individual will be held for bail. He won't be released on a second-degree murder charge. I can tell you that. So there will be a bail hearing at some point in time, and the police will continue with their investigation, trying to make some idea, or get some idea, I should say, as to why this happened, and if this person was experiencing some sort of crisis, what was that crisis, and how long had it been going on for?
Thank you so much for this, Steve. Appreciate it. Steve Ryan, our crime analyst. Thank you. A pedestrian has been sent to hospital after being struck by a vehicle in Etobicoke.
This happened on Subway Crescent near Dundas and Kipling. It was just after 4 o'clock this afternoon. Paramedics say that the male pedestrian was rushed to hospital with serious injuries, and police say the driver did stay on the scene. Their investigation is continuing.
Suspect images have been released in a stabbing near Bay and College.
And police are asking for help identifying the 3 men in these photos. Police say the victim was approached by the 3 suspects around 6:45 last evening and then stabbed.
The victim was later found with serious injuries on the platform at College Station, but it's believed that they were stabbed off of TTC property. Anyone with information is asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers.
And a man's been arrested after being pulled over on Highway 407 with a license. The license had been suspended for 40 years.
And the driver was stopped on the 407 in Burlington yesterday afternoon. OPP sharing a photo of a radar gun reading 144 kilometers an hour, which is 44 over the speed limit. Police say the 60-year-old driver from Toronto was already facing 20 suspended driving convictions. He is now facing more traffic offenses and was turned over to neighboring police services for outstanding warrants.
It's 5:47, 11 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, celebrations after a deal is reached on the first step toward ending the war in Gaza.
Well, there are celebrations in Israel after a deal was reached on the first step towards ending war in Gaza.
The initial phase of the plan will see all remaining hostages freed in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. The Israeli military is then expected to begin its withdrawal from most of Gaza. There is uncertainty about whether Hamas will disarm, how that will happen, and who will govern Gaza. But the two sides appear closer to a ceasefire deal than they've been in months. Prime Minister Netanyahu and his security cabinet are signing off on the plan before the entire parliament approves the release of Palestinian prisoners.
And emergency service workers, they celebrated the deal with prayers and chants in Gaza City. They handed out desserts and blared their sirens to mark the latest step towards peace in the region. Well, Tuesday marked 2 years of war following the Hamas attack on Israel.
U.S. President Donald Trump spoke from the White House this afternoon about the developments in the Israel-Hamas war.
It's really peace in the Middle East. And you remember October 7th was terrible, but also from the Hamas standpoint, they probably lost 70,000 people. That's big retribution. That's big retribution. But at some point, that whole thing has to stop. And we're going to see to it. Gaza is going to be slowly redone. You have tremendous wealth in that part of the world by certain countries, and just a small part of that, what they make will do wonders for Gaza.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says that he welcomes this deal.
But to turn this ceasefire into real progress, we need more than the silencing of the guns. We need full, safe and sustained access for humanitarian workers, the removal of red tape and impediments, and the rebuilding of shattered infrastructure. And we need member states to ensure that humanitarian operations are properly funded to meet the immense needs. We must never forget the unbearable human cost of this conflict.
Prime Minister Carney talked about the deal in Ottawa this morning.
The next 48 hours are crucial. We urge the parties, particularly Hamas, to follow through, release all the hostages, and including the deceased hostages. The President and I discussed in the White House how Canada can support this process. We are supporting with humanitarian aid. There's other mechanisms that we can do to support it.
Well, you may soon see warnings on bottles of alcohol.
A bill before the Senate proposes adding cancer warning labels to alcohol packaging. Senator Patrick Brazeau told a Senate committee today that alcohol is linked to 7 deadly types of cancer, including liver, colon, breast, and oral cancers. He says research shows only a quarter of Canadians are aware of those risks. Brazeau also says that there are misconceptions about the safety of alcohol.
Well, Ontario's measles outbreak is officially over.
Health officials say no new cases have been confirmed since September the 29th and therefore declared the outbreak over as of Monday. The province recorded a total of 2,375 cases connected to the outbreak that involved 26 public health units.
Well, the province says all of Marineland's beluga whales are still alive.
The Niagara Falls Park threatened to euthanize its 30 belugas if the federal government didn't provide emergency funds for their care. That request was denied earlier this week. The Office of Solicitor General Michael Kersner did not provide the details of the situation at Marineland, which has been closed since last year. Provincial Animal Welfare Services inspectors have had an ongoing investigation of Marineland underway since 2020.
It's 5:55, 11 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, we'll have more reaction to the Jays winning the ALDS. I can't get enough of this. The Blue Jays slugger, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., is getting lots of attention on social media today after he had a little fun during a post-game appearance on Fox Sports. It's going to play in my mind as I sleep.
It should.
Yankee lose. The Yankees lose. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Oh, hey, let's do it again. The Yankees lose.
Oh, man. Guerrero asked former Red Sox great David Ortiz to repeat his famous line following the Yankees' loss, and then joined him So the line is a play on former Yankees broadcaster John Sterling's signature call after a New York win.
Blue Jays alumni are celebrating the Blue Jays' success so far this postseason. Rob Butler won a World Series with the Jays in 1993 and tells CP24 it was exciting to watch the team beat the Yankees.
For me, being a fan since 1977, when I was 15 years old in '85, when they first got to the playoffs, Tom Henke and those guys, those elated feelings are back for me, right? I mean, I've always loved the Blue Jays, watched the Blue Jays all the time, but this beating the New York Yankees is just like, because when I played against them and going to Yankee Stadium, there's just a different feeling when you play the Yankees and you beat them.
And while the Jays and their fans are celebrating the win, there's not much love being shown for the Yankees in the Big Apple. The New York Post love to hate it, hate to love it, using the phrase, boys, a bummer, to describe the Pinstripes after their elimination from the playoffs. It's 5:59, 11 degrees. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
What a great picture that was. Thank you for watching. CTV News at 6 is next.